Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is about positive change. So, what is positive change? Is it the opposite of negative change? What I wanted to kind of capture when I said positive change is adding more helpful habits into our lives. So that's how the next few weeks is structured for these live events. So we'll be doing some live events about changing, helping to incorporate helpful new habits into our lives. And then after 3 more weeks of various steps talking about this, we'll go into the time of breaking bad habits. And it's funny too, the words that we use, breaking bad habits. It's like, it's just funny to see the words that we use to talk about these things is often already built into it or baked into it something that is lacking compassion. Breaking it just seems like seems like a very non-gentle way of coming towards ourselves. And really, if we want to be successful in cultivating good habits and stopping our bad habits, there's definitely an element of compassion that comes with it. And so throughout these weeks, you'll discover that self-compassion is maybe the second foundational piece. Mindfulness really being at the bottom, at the floor. That really the way you're going to be able to notice what you're doing, to be able to see what habits that can be helpful and be good for you to form, are going to require you to see where you already are. And to assess your current situation without judgment. And similarly, for stopping doing things that aren't helpful for us, it's important for us to see where we are. And so, this is what's certainly in common about both of these, is that for both starting good habits and stopping bad habits, these foundations of mindfulness and self-compassion are extremely helpful for success. I wanted to say crucial, but is it possible? Is it possible to stop bad habits and to start new habits without mindfulness and self-compassion? I'm sure there are examples out there where people have done it, but this is certainly going to increase your chance of success and increase your resilience when you inevitably are unable to continue cultivating or have some kind of setback. So both mindfulness and self-compassion are going to be instrumental in that process of good habit creation and stopping bad habits. So starting positive change begins with discovering where you are, and this is mindfulness. So mindfulness in this case is like being in a dark room, right? So if you're in a dark room, you're not going to be able to clean it up or rearrange it until the lights are turned on. So this is really what mindfulness does, is it helps to shine a light on the area that we are working on, or just on ourselves in general. I mean, sometimes, so it's interesting and amazing the things that can be discovered through mindfulness practice. And if you're practicing every day, this is part of the joy of practicing every day, is that you can't help but get to know yourself better, and you'll start to see patterns, and you'll notice that the patterns that you observe this week, this month, are different from the patterns that you notice and observe next month. Is that you'll notice that you are constantly changing, and that's even without any effort. without trying to change anything, you'll already notice that there are things that are changing. And I think one of the really interesting things as I've these series were inspired because of the fact, one of the reasons that I've chosen to teach making good habits in particular is because of the last few months, especially being on holiday. I haven't been doing all of the things that I've wanted to do. And as I've been meditating longer these days, it feels incredible to get back in touch with myself. And one of the other things, besides getting to know myself on a mental and an emotional level, maybe the piece that I had forgotten a bit more was getting to know myself on the physical level. Is that, focusing on the physical body while I'm meditating. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to put it into words. It's just this kind of beautiful feeling of coming home and, getting reacquainted with my body, feeling how my body is, constantly doing its processes, getting reacquainted with the parts of my body that I'm not used to encountering as much. I think it sounds silly to even hear it this way, but I think if you've been meditating at all for any period of time, that this may resonate with you, that you may understand a little bit about what I'm talking about. And there's, it is very interesting. The more acquainted that I become with my body, the easier it is for me to notice how my body reacts to my emotional situation or thoughts that come through my mind. It was this past weekend. We were going to an event. We were taking our kids to an event, and I found that we got stuck in this traffic jam where the light was cycling. I don't know, at least 6 or 7 times before we were able to make it through the light. And just to notice the stress that was coming up about it, especially as I was watching the clock as the event was getting nearer and nearer, and noticing my desire to satisfy all of the other participants in the car. The event really wasn't for me as much as it was for everybody else that was there. And so just to see it, to recognize the stress is there, and to remind myself, I feel the stress in my body, and what is that like? What do I feel? And because I notice it, is it possible to start to let go of the stress? And I think another interesting thing about this moment that I'll share with you is that as much as I noticed feeling stressed, maybe by noticing it, it stopped my stress from, going really out of control, but it didn't make the stress go away. The stress stayed there. Even as much as I reminded myself, this is not a situation that requires you to be stressed. Nobody's going to get hurt. There's no, it's not the end of the world, to use that cliche, if we don't make it to this event on time. But it didn't matter that I stayed stressed through that time. And probably my stress was somewhat regulated because of practicing mindfulness and in those moments and being mindfully aware of what was going on. But it was interesting to see that stress remained. And maybe this is another sign for me to keep practicing so that I can let go of these events more easily in the future. And okay, so back to the topic of cultivating good habits. This is something, cultivating, maybe this is a word that meditation teachers use a lot. What I like about the word cultivating is that it really is it's a farming word, right? When we cultivate something, we know that it's not something that's going to happen, or maybe we don't know, but I'm here to remind you that cultivating good habits is something that the result doesn't happen immediately. We're here, we're sowing the seeds, right? We're watering them, we're taking care of them, we're patiently letting the seeds grow. And so if you find yourself in stressful situations and you're stressed because the stress doesn't go away immediately, just understand that it's because you're in the process, right? Maybe one day, 10 years down the road, or maybe it's closer than that, maybe it's 2 months away, the next time you encounter this stressful experience, you won't be as stressed. I mean, we all react to our meditations differently, and our good habits, whatever our foundations are. We all have different ways of our bodies and minds changing because of that, and they are always changing, as you can observe through your mindfulness practice. So however long it takes, but this is one of the key pieces here, is that there are small steps to transformation, right? That transformation isn't something that happens overnight. It's something that requires constant attention, just like growing plants, right? I mean, if you don't have to water it, you may not even have to water your plant every day, but it is important to mindfully come in and take a look and go, oh, how's it doing? Right? Oh, look, it's a little bit wilted today. Maybe I need to put it in the sunshine, right? So with this kind of awareness, to take a look, and knowing that big changes are really only small moments that are repeated consistently. Let me just put this in the chat, okay? Big changes are really small moments repeated consistently. And so the way that new habits and good habits, and I'll just kind of remind you of some of these foundational things that it's mindfulness meditation, drinking, hydrating enough, eating well, sleeping enough, and exercising often. These are, let's see, did I say that? Did I say these are mindfulness, eating well, sleeping enough, drinking enough water, and exercising often? Like, if you do these things, you'll find that naturally you can't help it. Your mood, your resilience, your wherewithal to tackle your daily life will increase. You will be more equipped to deal with all the challenges and the full catastrophe of what this life has to offer. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat and respond. Plant a seed and nurture it to grow, says Jean. Sybil says, I always get ridiculously stressed to be on time to catch a plane at the airport. I haven't been able to stop it. I try to use mindfulness, but the stress refuses to stop until I know I'm on time for the planes. Thanks, Sybil, for sharing that. I can totally relate to that. It's like my wife always asks me, why are you leaving for the airport so early? I'm like, I'm leaving for the airport early because I like being at the airport, knowing that I'm not going to miss my flight. And like, I know that's my way of managing my stress. Don't try and for me, it's not, don't make the stress go away. Instead, change the situation around so that I'm less likely to feel the stress. Alexa says, traveling alone always makes me very stressed, and I try to always have something else to do to get my mind off it, and that everything will be okay. Thanks, both of you, for sharing. So the stickiness of new habits stick through remembering. So just coming back to remembering your intention as well. Why is it that I want this change? What do I think is going to be positive about this change that makes me want to incorporate it into my life? So remembering what that change is, remembering what the intention is that connects to that change. This next piece is compassion. So making sure that we are kind to ourselves, and compassion helps us to not give up and to be resilient, so that when things are challenging, we have the wherewithal to say it's okay and to get back and to try again. And patience, knowing that through sheer willpower, the seed isn't going to grow any faster, right? I'm not going to use my psychic energy to get that seed to grow any faster. It's going to grow in the way that it grows, right? The flower is going to bloom when it's time for it to bloom. It's not going to bloom any earlier. And so for us to have these expectations that we can instantly change is unrealistic. So and then the compassion, right? Compassion says be easy on yourself. Just, these things in conjunction, remembering your intention, giving yourself compassion for when you falter, and being patient, trusting the process instead of demanding results, are the ways to create positive change in your life. So patience, non-judging, letting go, the attitudes of MBSR fall in here quite well. So these are the 9 attitudes are still fresh in my mind as I'm still working on the audio tracks of the course that I'm going to be releasing soon. So I'm still massaging those, and I'm looking forward to putting that out soon. So some examples and some ways that we can notice these, how positive changes show up. And so one is and how how the good habits show up and how mindfulness ties in. One is mindful eating. So you can notice that paying attention, if you can take a few moments to pay attention to the food that you're eating, spend more time instead of multitasking, instead of watching a TV show and eating, or having a call or reading something. Give it a try to put your attention fully on the process of eating, seeing the food, smelling the food, tasting the food. This may sound simple, but I think a lot of people can recognize that there have been many times in our lives when we're eating and we're not tasting our food, because it could be simply that our mind is fully engaged on something else, something troubling perhaps. Another thing that we can do is, mindfulness helps us remember to connect to our breath. So is it possible during these stressful times to keep practicing? So not just focusing on the breath when we're meditating, but also focusing on the breath when we notice stressful situations come up. When you're in a traffic jam, when you're late to the airport, just remember, there's that stress. I feel the stress. Where's the stress in my body? What's my breath doing? Is my breath becoming shorter? So tuning back in to this physical body as we start to notice all of this stuff. So Melissa is at the airport right now, and the flight was delayed, but love the experience of people watching. Thanks, Melissa, for sharing. Let's go ahead and get into our meditation practice for today. So get comfortable. So in this spirit of reacquainting myself with my body, I'd just like to lead you through a body scan today. So the joy that I've found in reacquainting myself with my body, I just kind of want to share with you as best as I can here today. So find a comfortable posture. And one of the joys of meditation, if you're at the airport, you don't have to close your eyes. Although I would encourage you to pause your people watching. Because there's usually a story that goes along with people watching. So if it's possible instead to just notice what the present moment is like. Sight is one of those senses that is very easy to get drawn out of the present moment from. That our mind usually has tons of commentary about the things that we see. So if your eyes are open, perhaps just choosing a point in front of you to have a soft gaze. And so noticing now the fact that you are breathing. And so trusting in the fact that you are exactly as you are meant to be in this moment, that you don't need to be better or different in any way. That mindfulness practice isn't about changing the present moment, it is about observing the present moment in whatever situation it may be. Expanding and contracting is what the body is doing as we breathe. Can we feel that? And now when you're ready, bringing the left leg into awareness. So see if you can notice what your toes feel like. Do you have 5 toes? If you do, can you feel each of those toes individually? Can you draw your awareness into each of the toes? To notice that I do indeed have 5 toes, and I can tell because I can bring my awareness into each of them. Can we feel the rest of the foot, the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, the left ankle, the left shin, the left calf muscle, the left knee, the back of the left knee, the left thigh, the left hip, and now the entirety of the left leg, just holding the left leg in awareness. And as I've scanned through the left leg somewhat quickly, there may have been areas of the leg that you were not able to tune into easily. So can you just do your best to feel all of the sensations that may be there in the left leg, and just ordinary stuff. Feeling of your clothing touching your leg, tingling, itching, warmth, coolness, whatever's here. And on the next exhale, releasing the left leg from awareness. And moving our attention to the right leg. Can we feel the toes? Do you have 5 toes? If you do, can you feel each of those 5 toes individually? Or if you have more or less toes, can you feel those toes? Noticing the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, the right ankle, the right shin, the right calf muscle, the right knee, the back of the right knee, the right thigh, the right hip. So now, center stage, shining the light of awareness on the right leg in its entirety. No darkness here. Fully aware of all of the sensations in the right leg. And on your next exhale, releasing the right leg from awareness. And now bringing attention into the pelvis. Noticing the buttocks, which if you're sitting or lying down are connected, are grounded. And you feel the pressure between the buttocks and the supporting surface. And now, including as well the front of the pelvis, the region of the genitals, the anus, the lower digestive tract. These are here. These are parts of my body, being aware that they're here. And on the next exhale, releasing the pelvis from awareness. As we begin to draw the attention into the torso. So noticing the lower back, the abdomen, the upper back, and the chest. Noticing the muscles of the back, are they tight or are they at ease? And notice the muscles around the shoulders as well. Are they tight or are they at ease? Simply being aware, not trying to change anything at all. Noticing the abdomen rising and falling with the breath. Noticing the chest rising and falling. Noticing the heart, if you can, beating inside the chest. So holding now the entirety of the torso in awareness. And on the next exhale, releasing the torso from awareness. Bringing attention into the left arm. Noticing your fingers. Do you have 5 fingers? Can you bring your attention into each finger individually? How about the palm of the hand? The back of the hand? The left wrist? The left forearm? The left elbow? The left upper arm? The left armpit? The left shoulder? Holding now the entirety of the left arm in awareness, noticing all physical sensations. And on the next exhale, releasing the left arm from awareness, and guiding attention into the right arm. Drawing awareness to each of the fingers, to the palm, to the back of the right hand, to the right wrist, the right forearm, the right elbow, the right upper arm, the right shoulder, the right armpit. And now holding the entirety of the right arm in awareness. On the next exhalation, releasing the right arm. Just letting it fade into the background of awareness. As we guide the attention to the neck, to the softer front side of the neck, the larynx, the throat. Maybe feeling the breathing moving through the windpipe, the back of the neck, the muscles here. Noticing the face, including the jaw, the teeth, the gums, the tongue, the opening to the throat. The lips, the cheeks, the ears, the nose with air moving through the nostrils, the eyes, muscles around the eyes, the eyebrows and the forehead, the scalp and the crown of the head, and the back of the head. So holding the head in awareness, and the face and the neck. And now expanding to the body in its entirety, from head to toe, just noticing every single sensation that is appearing in the body. The breathing, the tingling, the itching, the moisture, the sweat, the chills, whatever's here. Just noticing the body here, breathing, alive right now. And now I'll close practice with 3 rings of the bell. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining me in today's meditation and today's talk about mindfulness for positive change. Hope things went well for you. How did it go? How was the meditation? Any questions or comments about mindfulness and positive change? Chew each bite 20 times, I was once told, says Caitlin. That can be part of mindful eating as well, right? Just making sure to properly chew your food. I mean, it sounds silly to say these like obvious things, but thanks, Chris. Yes, and welcome everybody. If it's your first time joining or you've been here many times, it's a pleasure having you. So thanks for showing up. Feel free to join again if you enjoyed today's talk and practice. You follow me on Insight Timer if you haven't. That will help you to get notifications as to when all of this stuff happens. Like I said, I have the next few lessons already planned out about cultivating positive change, and then eventually we'll get to stopping habits that we don't want to do anymore. So yes, 47 hours from now, there's another practice on another talk as well about the next steps of positive change. So I hope that you'll be able to come back. And we'll keep going together. Rachel says, today I was able to focus on most of the body parts as well as my dog climbing on me, and maybe that's why I didn't fall asleep. I was going to ask you if you fell asleep this time. And for me, of course, it just feels good to be acquainted with my body. It's just nice to feel everything, nice to be reminded of my body. Thanks, Robin, for sharing. I dozed, as it happens. Another thing, of course, you can do to help is if you appreciated today's practice and you have the means to do so or would care to do so, you can always make a donation. But of course, the most helpful thing first is following. And soon enough, I'll have my 9 Attitudes Insight Timer course released, and it's interesting how I'm just wanting to get that. I'm perfect, right? I mean, I'm looking for another word to say besides perfect, but that's the word that keeps popping into my mind, so I'll say it. Just recognize my own desire for perfection and recognize as well that I do have an understanding that perfection doesn't exist. So I'll try to release it when it's perfectly imperfect. It's not quite there yet. Thanks, Rachel, for your donation. Jean says, I was quite distracted today. My mind wandered to something that I've put off. When we were on the hips, I was wondering which hip my sister's having replaced on the 10th. Thanks for sharing. And and I love it. I love that. This is what the practice is like, right? Like things, and one of the reasons why that sight can be so difficult to have as an object of meditation, because it just causes all of these memories and stuff to come back, that you'll start wondering about this, and it's just sensation in my right hip makes me think about someone else's right hip, this super normal. And so just to kind of help the meditation process, it can be easier to deal with the mind when it's wandering a bit less. Okay. I'm back in 47 hours. So look forward to seeing you then. Please show up if you'd like to see more of this content, and I will see you then. Before we go, let's send some well wishes and some compassion to ourselves and as well to everybody who's here today. So follow along with me if you like. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all sentient life, all human beings on this planet, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks, Jean, for your donation. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.